to Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. Hopper's doing a weird thing with his hand, like fade out the music. So if you're watching on YouTube where you can check that out. Quiet down, quiet down, quiet down. Shh.
Ooh, I saw one lightning.
Is that a makeup for missing it on the tight ends episode?
For those of you that weren't here with us last Wednesday, I did not make white lightning drops for Kyle Rudolph for anybody that is listening year over year. So there's your makeup one.
Thankfully, it was 1 and not 10.
We're talking about tight ends this episode.
We are going to talk about some tight ends this episode, though I don't believe Kyle Rudolph comes up at all. All right. We are Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. We're here on doing a training camp battle episode. If you go back and listen to Monday's episode, if you missed it, we did QBs and running backs for you guys. This one we're going to continue with wide receivers and tight ends, let you know kind of our thoughts on how some of these position battles are going to shake up between the various teams. I'm Nick Sparts. Yawning to my left is Christopher Hopper.
Hot BFF with TPs.
Across the table from me is Dan Thury.
At Thury BFF. What's up, guys?
And then shout out Untapped, where Hopper drops our reviews at Beerfield FF. Instagram, CanArt, Beerfield FF as well.
Yep.
And then Twitter as well, where you can drop all the news, guest spots, anything else we were doing is also at Beerfield FF. Make sure to check us out there.
And YouTube, if you're not watching there, be sure to show up and watch us.
Yep. All right. See all of our silly antics.
And then as a reminder, we are going to 3 days a week. We have not picked what we're going to do Friday yet, so it's a surprise for us and you.
Friday.
We don't even know yet because we're probably recording that episode a week from now. So
with all the news.
There will be a lot of news, probably a Hall of Fame game recap, and we'll figure something else out.
Yeah.
Ooh, Ravens versus Bears.
Oh, I saw the day, by the way, that I guess this won't be news by the time this drops, but I guess Jordan Howard and Trubisky aren't playing in the Hall of Fame game.
Really?
I'm not shocked.
Yeah, they're sitting.
I'm assuming we'll see a little Cohen, and that's about it.
Yeah, new offense, so I'm kind of surprised that Trubisky's not taking at least a series.
Yeah,
but
that one actually shocks me just a little bit.
It's
Maybe he's a little further
Yeah.
along than
You know
good for him, though.
who we do get to see that I'm excited for?
Anthony Miller.
Javon Wims.
No.
Who?
Ryan Nall.
Oh, yeah, we do get to see Ryan Nall, and probably a healthy dose of him.
Apparently, he looked awesome at training camp per Ian.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll see. It'll be good to watch, though, even some of the lower end guys.
All right, so by next Friday, by the time this episode airs in 2 days, you will have a full recap of that for you guys. But before we jump into this episode, we got to hit a beer preview.
Beer Fuel.
Whoa. And I was going off memory. This is Brewdog's first time on the show.
Yes.
All right, well, please welcome Brewdog's Hazy Jane New England style IPA.
They haven't actually been distributed here all that long. I think the first one I got from them, I actually got down in St. Louis, and then I saw them up here starting probably 2-3 months ago.
Okay, so we haven't had a huge window of time to actually get our hands on them.
I have 6 different kinds of beers.
So
work.
Expanding quickly. Good to know.
Yes.
Hazy Jane is a New England style IPA from Brewdog. They are out of Winchester, Ohio. It's a 7.2% New England style IPA, so thankfully we're only recording 2 episodes and not 3, or the third one would probably be a total
Brian
shit
Hoyer
show.
incident all over again.
Shout out episode 10 or whatever.
I don't know that we'll run into an incident this off season where we're recording 3 in a day.
We did it once last year and it sucked.
I'm really hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it once last year and it really blew. So scheduling notwithstanding, hopefully that doesn't happen.
I don't think
Probably be a lot of 2 and then 1.
Yep. If it does happen, you're welcome.
Or
enjoy the 3rd episode.
or we're sorry.
Or we're sorry.
We'll get bombers, I think.
And if you'd like that to happen, tweet us at Beerfield FF.
Just marathon
and give
5
us
episodes
beer.
in a row.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, God.
Yes, you have to provide the beer if you want us to do us 3 in a row.
Yes.
All right. Shall we hit some camp battles?
Sure.
Things are changing. I still don't have a drop because we're recording this right after Monday's episode.
Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes.
I'm fine. I'm always fine with that drop. All right, camp battles. As a reminder, we're going to go over how significant is the role. Is there anything we're watching for during training camp and preseason? And what are we expecting to shake out? How do we think this is going to be by the time we hit the regular season?
This first one's a doozy.
Their passing game is a doozy. Kicking off with the wide receivers is the
passing game's a drowsiness.
Is the Cowboys' entire passing game. We've got Cole Beasley, Michael Gallup, Alan Hearns, Terrence Williams, Tavon Austin, and I'm probably forgetting some people. Noah Brown's still there. The one guy just tore his shoulder, Cedric Wilson.
I think.
Is there a reason you're like holding the mic?
I just felt like it.
I think Hearns is the one. I think that's been established this offseason. There's been.
Does he hold on to the one?
Is there a true one here?
That's another good
That's
question.
this might be like Jacksonville's thing, where there's a new one every couple weeks.
It's no ones, just 5-2s.
Yeah, Barney. I'll sleep. I won't fuck a 10, but I'll fuck 5-2s.
No, it's George Carlin.
Is that George Carlin? All right, well, I thought Barney said not. Anyways, go ahead.
Barney.
But my
like-
mother.
But Barney Stinson
Yeah.
from How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, I thought you meant the dinosaur. It's like, what a weird thing to put on a kid's show.
It got dark in the later seasons.
Yes. We've heard worse.
They moved it to HBO. I don't know why.
Late night Cinemax.
Purple Wedding.
Anyway, Michael Gallup. I think Michael Gallup has an outside shot to be this year's Cooper Cup. I think he gradually starts to produce flashes, gives you a nice floor every game. Probably not going to blow up this year, but I think that you see enough to get really excited about him. Alan Hearns, I think, was brought in to be the one. Beasley, I think, will retain kind of that 3 spot that's relevant twice a year.
And Hearns is generally profiled as more of a deep route guy, so I think
He's a 2.
Yeah,
For sure.
Gallup's going to be more of the possession guy
Yeah, think
because he's a way better route runner.
Anquan Bolden light.
He could end up
Except he
being,
can run.
like he could end up being.
Young Anquan Bolden could run.
Speaking of
He
things,
could.
yeah, we'll probably talk about it when we get to Oakland. Never mind.
And then Cole Beasley's been getting some decent hype in camp. He has been fantasy relevant before in this offense.
Is it because of his rap game?
His rap game is pretty good, but I don't think that gives scores.
He's the 101 in rap at fantasy leagues.
I would draft him
with football players.
I would draft him over Le'Veon Bell for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Char West is pretty good.
Why can't he be a better running back? Because he sounds like he's awesome at everything else.
He is. So as far as Cole Beasley goes, we know what Cole Beasley is. He's always been a good route runner. He's always been a guy that I think probably fits well at Dak's game, but he hasn't been able to put that together into a super high value fantasy season. So if I'm betting on somebody, I'm betting on Gallup. I think that you won't be disappointed with that as long as you don't take him as your wide receiver 2. I mean, he should be at least your 3, and I think you can probably get him as your 4.
He's going in the 12th round, so hopefully like your 5.
Yeah. I definitely love that price on him because I do think that he puts up similar, different types of receiver. His upside is higher than Kupp's, but I think the productivity will be about the same.
I just removed Terrence Williams from the conversation.
You just deleted him.
I just deleted it. I think Gallup has a chance to be
The
or
one.
to be what like Allen Robinson was for Jacksonville during this rookie season, where he flashed a bunch before Robinson got hurt. That could be Gallup's role. In an offense that may not have a lot of high volume, he may be able to be the guy that can be, just be that.
Yeah, I could definitely
Especially
see
Dallas
that.
struggles.
I appreciate you deleting Terrence Williams. That's what the Dallas Cowboys should do and just cut him.
You're welcome.
If Terrence Williams can be deleted in real life, somebody do that.
Oh, gee.
Ben Watson, where are you at?
So nobody give Hopper that type of power.
Please.
I'm gonna
It'd be weird.
I'm gonna play The Sims, and I'm
All
gonna
right.
make the Dallas Cowboys roster just so I can delete
So-
Terrence Williams.
Even kind of just taking
Thanos.
kind of a bigger picture look at this though. What's the highest that any Dallas Cowboys, whoever wins the one, what's the highest that they finish?
Wide receiver 28.
That's
oddly
I was actually
specific,
going to
right?
say that actually.
Huh?
Yeah.
Weird.
So a mid 3.
Yes. Because there's going to be enough targets, I think, to one of them
Not a
that
ton-
could get them there.
But not a ton of overall volume, and I think without somebody being clear cut, that it's going to kind of be intermittent as to who it is, especially early on. I think that people start to emerge as the season goes on.
Yeah.
And my money's on Gallup, but I don't think that somebody gets consistent enough targets or there's enough volume, especially with Zeke being able to just chunk away 4 and 5 yards a carry.
It's also this whole offense is Zeke. So moving on.
All right. The whole Jets wide receiver group, but we're going to do it in different groups here, starting with the wide receiver 1 between Robbie Anderson and Quincy Enunwa.
I think Anderson starts out as the one if he doesn't get suspended. But Enunwa is he's flashed when he's been healthy. I'm not in love with this receiving core, but I guess Robbie Anderson. He's had the most chemistry with Josh McCown, which helps.
So this is
Start
going with
the,
the previous episode's assumption that Josh McCown's the starter.
Yes, I said that too. I do believe that's what happens to start the season.
I think it's Robbie Anderson, but I think it's kind of a gross. He's the wide receiver 1 on that team.
Yeah.
I think that if that offense is going to succeed, it's probably going to be through the run game. Just because you've got quarterback question marks, you're going to have Enunwa getting some targets, probably either Curse or Chad Hansen. Watch those two in training camp. So
And Pryor's flashed.
and Pryor's there. I always forget about Terrell Pryor, who blames last year's underperformance on
Hold
his
on.
ankle.
Let
so
me
he
fix
bounces
that real
back.
quick.
So there's just
that real quick.
Yeah, do not. All right. I'm not going to forget. It's like,
I know.
I forgot about Terrell Pryor. Now, Chad Hansen, Jermaine Kearse, Ardarius Stewart, and Terrell Pryor fighting for the 3 role.
Chad Hansen or Jermaine Curse, probably.
Yeah. I don't think Stewart makes the team.
Unfortunately, Stewart.
Yeah.
And the reason is, too, is when you think about what they have. I mean, I guess if you need a field stretcher, I could see it being Pryor, probably, more so than anything.
But they have Anderson.
But they have Anderson.
And Enunwa.
So if you need
Filled that role too.
And Nuno's more of
Enunwa's
a slot
more of a
possession
slot
guy.
Possession
He's
guy.
like a
Robbie
smaller.
Anderson played that role for a little bit last year too. I thought.
He was a vertical slot guy.
Yeah.
And Nuno's like a slightly smaller tight end.
Right. So you're really looking for kind of your possession outside guy. I don't remember how big Chad Hansen is.
6'2".
That could be
That
Pryor.
could be Pryor.
Yeah, because he's 6'3", 6'4",
Yeah.
2 something. He's big.
So,
It's been over a year since I've really looked at Chad Hansen. I don't remember how tall he is.
well, here's the thing. You got everybody that's throwing hype at Robbie Anderson. You know who else produced
Aw.
mad amounts when he was the only real target in that offense? Terrell Pryor in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So I'd never actually looked at Chad Hansen, a player
Isn't he
profile before.
6'1", 2 something?
He's 6'2", 200.
Okay.
He looks like a 17-year-old lacrosse kid.
So a douchebag then. All right, perfect.
He was a good route runner and a possession guy, though, so he's a dark horse here. But really watch how that shakes out and watch for somebody to flash in camp because, even though Robbie Anderson did it last year, it was more volume-based than anything. I don't believe him as a true wide receiver 1. Like him more as a fringe 2-3 type if it could settle down into that. So there's room for somebody to emerge here. And Chad Hansen's a guy last year that we liked that had a lot of tools to emerge as more of a possession guy than a gadget, skill, speed guy in the way that we liked Ardarius Stewart.
This is a lot like Dallas, just a bunch of 2s and 3s. Someone will emerge because the Jets' offense, it's
ugly, but it is good enough
It
to
could be
support
something.
fantasy relevant
It
people.
could be. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Cardinals wide receiver 2/wide receiver 3. Bryce Butler, J.J. Nelson, Chad Williams, and Christian Kirk.
Been all over Bryce Butler on this one because of the way that he's performed when he's been given the opportunity. I thought he was better than Terrence Williams, and I thought that he should have had it out of Dallas.
Yeah. And as it states right now, it's Butler, Williams, and Kurt. As of right now, I think Butler will hold that job down. I think Williams could if they move Fitz back inside. If they want to trust that Butler and Williams are the outside guys, and then keep Fitz inside.
So the initial guys running with the runs is actually Nelson and Williams.
Wait, I thought Butler was a 2.
Or maybe it was
Like not too long ago. Like it was Butler and Williams, and then we just
I
assumed
thought that's what you said. Is
Kurt
it
was
was
a
Butler,
4.
Williams, and Fitz.
Yeah. It was Fitz,
When we
Butler,
talked
Williams.
Sunday, that's what you said.
Yeah. It was,
there was something that came out today. I'll quick check.
But regardless of that, it's going to be Fitz, and then Fitz can play inside or outside. If he goes outside, I think it hurts his production. I think he's probably better suited for the slot. And if they're trying to put the best combination of receivers out there that really are more complementary than anything, I think that Bryce Butler kind of had that Alshon Jeffrey type of not going to beat you down the field ability, but could go up over you and kind of make that spectacular catch.
he made plays for Dallas when he had the chance.
Yeah, and then, Chad Williams missed hurt, even though he's a very big-bodied guy. So, I mean, you're really going to be watching that battle in training camp. But if I had to guess, I'm probably putting it on Bryce Butler just because of what he has flashed in the NFL so far.
And I was incorrect. It is Butler, not Nelson. My mistake.
Mhm.
All right. Is the wide receiver 2 fantasy relevant?
No.
Not with Rosen, maybe with Bradford. Well, when Bradford's healthy, he can support people. He's extremely efficient.
And that he's right. And that's, do you bank on Bradford being healthy?
And that's the thing too, is that Bradford didn't have a guy like David Johnson with Minnesota. And And maybe just be Fitz and Johnson as the guys you want to own, and then you're playing for more upside with a guy like Kurt Williams or Butler.
I have taken some swings on Butler in dynasty leagues though.
Yes.
Just because I've always thought he's a guy that has the talent.
Yeah. All right. Panthers wide receiver 1, Funchess versus Moore.
DJ Moore.
It'll be fun just to start, but I think more creeps in as the season goes along.
Does he win it outright, or is it a 1A, 1B situation?
1A, 1B to start, and then I think he wins it outright. I think that he's a more polished receiver than what Devin Funchess is. I think, but kind of by the attrition of Kelvin Benjamin, Funchess had to take that role. And when he got targeted, he performed some, but it's also the Robbie Anderson thing. When it comes to raw talent, the ability to run routes, the athleticism, the speed, I think that DJ Moore packs more of that and more of the traits that you want in a true wide receiver 1 than what Devin Funchess does. I think Devin Funchess is an okay 2. I think overall that Devin Funchess playing the role of 2 makes that receiving core better. But I think that it's DJ Moore that emerges as the 1.
It depends how Moore looks as a route runner. I mean, he's 21 years old. That was one of, I guess, his weaknesses coming out of Maryland was that he didn't have a full, complete route tree. He showed flashes, great, attacked the ball in the air, great, a lot of downfield ability. It looked like a lot of a raw Odell Beckham on tape. We still got to see it. And, Cam isn't the most flashy and efficient passer. And I know that Funchess, can't create separation for shit, but he still produced in this offense last year.
All right. So since they're very, very close in ADP, would you rather have Allen Hurns or DJ Moore at the back end of the 9th or the 10th?
I think Hurns because I think he's the one to start. But that's tough because I think Moore is more of the upside play.
I think I'd rather have DJ Moore. Give me the unknown than the guy that's more so than the guy that's had problems staying on the field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continuing on, Falcons wide receiver 2, Sanu versus Ridley.
Sanu. I'm not even... The way that Matt Ryan trusts Mohamed Sanu on third downs and as reliable as he's been, Ridley definitely comes into this offense as a 3. Sanu's a guy that I think is super undervalued as a safety net to have rostered on your teams. He's a guy that has some red zone upside. Like I said, Ryan loves him on third downs even more so than Julio. So he's a veteran presence that has the nuances down, and I think that the eventual role of Ridley may be replacing Sanu, but it's not this year.
This might be a light version of the Moore and Funchess where Ridley eventually takes over that spot. I think Ridley's got more of the upside because he's a big play guy too, but it is Hopper said he's more of the safer guy to where if you need that PPR safety net, that's going to be that goes to over Ridley.
Okay. And just for reference, FF community disagrees with us heavily. Ridley's going in the 10th and Sanu's in the 14th.
Give me Sanu all day because if I'm not looking for upside in the 14th, I'm looking for a safety net. And Sanu is, I think, one of the best safety nets out there.
Especially given around that time.
All right. Let's get real messy. Packers wide receiver 3, Geronimo Allison versus Jamon Moore versus ESB versus Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And there's probably more people there.
Jimmy Graham.
Yeah. It will be Allison to start. Geronimo Moore has flashed a bit. I think Geronimo Moore will eventually take that spot. I think ESB will be a practice squad guy that'll eventually get cut because he doesn't fucking do anything.
ESB's attitude's a problem. If you're looking for a guy that has
I love his talent.
The athletic talent, it's Jamon Moore is very athletically gifted but very raw, and that's what I don't like about this is that ESB is probably the more NFL ready, but the attitude he showed at the combine could be a big problem. So you're going to be watching news reports for him out of training camp more than anything.
Yeah, honestly, if I can get anything positive about ESB, that'd be excellent.
If he decides to play special teams, buy in because he's the most talented. He may be more of a talent, as a true 2 than Cobb is. Because Cobb
eventually, yes,
yeah, I'm saying he could be, but I think talent wise, it's a lot to love there, especially with Rodgers.
And ESB profiles as a good replacement to Jordy Nelson in terms of how they play.
He does.
His tape, he flashed a lot on tape for me.
Geronimo's getting all the hype, but I think that Jamon Moore has the raw skills to be developed into something probably better than Geronimo. And that's one thing the Packers have proven consistently good at as much as I hate to say it, is player development.
Well,
They can take guys out of nowhere and turn them into something. So even if it's not the first 2-3 years, Jamon Moore is a worthy taxi squad stash.
and he doesn't need to be a raw, just great route runner. Your fucking quarterback's Aaron Rodgers. He's 6'2", shows good outside ability. He played, with Missouri, who, throws a shit ton, runs a lot of those 9 routes, out routes, which is what Rodgers will use with Moore.
And he's got a ridiculous catch radius. Incredibly, I've never seen a receiver just run people over as much as we saw on Jamon Moore's tape. So
I know.
Anthony Miller.
There's a lot to there's a lot to like there.
There is.
So he is, if you're looking for a second Anquan Bolden type where he's just mean to the cornerbacks, he's the guy. So he's the one I'm hoping wins it because I like him way more than I like Allison.
I am too.
All right. Saints wide receiver 2. Ted Ginn, Cameron Meredith, and Traquan Smith. And I guess Michael Floyd now.
It's Meredith.
It's 2A, 2B, I think, for Meredith and Traquan Smith. Yeah. Ted Ginn, I think, will sprinkle in as a 3. Field stretcher, I think he was a 2 more out of necessity because of the Willie Snead saga. But so I think 2016 is kind of more what you look at as far as target share, where Snead, the pecking order was Thomas, Snead, Ginn.
I don't think Ginn was there in
No,
16,
he wasn't. He was in Carolina, but you get it.
But you're saying Ginn will have a defined role, but it won't be with a lot of volume.
Yeah, Cam Meredith is going to be more the Willie Snead type of slot guy, I think, that gets volume there.
Okay. And then we'll see some Smith roll in and hopefully flashes for dynasty purposes.
And eventually replace Ted Ginn.
He's flashed a shit ton. I'm actually looking at Ted Ginn's cap situation because it wouldn't shock me if they
I think they'd want it. They like him as a punt returner and his deep threat ability. I don't think he gets.
Yeah, I don't think he does either.
Well, I'm just looking
produced too
because
much.
both Meredith and Smith have flashed.
I think Smith is going to be more of a patience game.
All right. Well, moving on. While you're looking that up, we can jump.
No,
to that in a
I already
moment.
saw. We can go. We can keep going.
No, I didn't know if you were
Oh,
gonna,
I thought you were going to tell people.
Oh, I'm sorry.
people what
No,
it
I mean,
is.
no. It's not all right. So if they cut him, they would say 250, or I'm sorry, a 2.5 mil.
That's not
Probably
enough.
not enough when he's the punt returner and a decent deep
And
threat.
it's the same thing for next year. They
Yeah.
save 2 mil this year, then they would save 2.5 mil next year.
Yeah, it's team friendly.
he probably
doesn't
plays
go
out his
anywhere. He
contract.
plays it out.
Yeah.
All right. Ravens wide receiver 2, John Brown versus Willie Snead.
If John Brown stays healthy, I think it's his. Because I think he profiles with what Flacco can do well, and that's drive the ball downfield. Snead flashed, but he flashed with Drew Brees.
Snead's
not
more-
with the guy like Joe Flacco.
Snead's more of a slot guy anyway,
Yeah.
which is something that Flacco's not used a ton. It's like you just said, he's been more of a drive the ball downfield type, which is John Brown's game. But you have the sickle cell thing with John Brown. It's never been a talent question. It's been his ability to stay on the field. So
So it's just like Bradford v. Rosen. It's Brown's till he gets hurt.
it's Brown until he gets hurt, and then it's Willie Snead.
All right.
It's ugly. I wouldn't trust either of them.
All right. Colts wide receiver 2, and this is not their number 2 overall target. It's probably their 4th overall target.
Oh, God.
Rodgers, Grant, Kane, and Fountain.
And Krishan.
And Krishan Hogan.
And Christian Hogan.
This one's tough because they paid Grant. Rodgers got a little bit hype. I don't want anybody from here. Kane's got a lot of hype too.
Kane's gotten hyped.
Kane's got a bunch
Kane
of hype.
got hyped up. So Najee Good was on today, as in the day we're recording, was on the Pat McAfee podcast and was hyping up Deion Kane.
Which is Tuesday, July 31st for everyone out there.
Yeah.
If you want some reference.
If you
points.
want to go listen to it. But Najee Good, who the Colts signed from the Eagles in the offseason to play linebacker, was hyping up Deion Kane. So
I mean, like I didn't hate Kane on tape. I think he didn't flash enough but he also lost Watson there, and he didn't have much of a quarterback.
if you're looking for a Moncrief replacement, because T.Y. Hilton can stretch the field, Hogan's got the size.
And Fountain.
And Fountain. They're about the same player. So I don't know. I don't want to own it, whatever it is.
All right.
It's one of those things I don't really care about because I know I don't want it. Even Moncrief in his good year only produced because of touchdowns.
It's just so hard to guess. I mean, we've seen Luck produce with a bunch of unknown guys. I mean, he made Ty relevant, and he helped make Moncrief somewhat relevant. It's just we just assume that it's gonna be Doyle and Ebron to be the 2 and 3.
Yeah, and Hines, I even like more than whoever the wide receiver 2 is, I think.
And at least one, if not both of the tight ends.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Chargers wide receiver 2, the Williams brothers.
I'm still Team Tyrell.
I'm still Team Mike.
All right, fight.
Well, there's no fight because I have him like 3 spots because it's going to be one of them. And it's either going to be, the guy that's actually done it or the guy who was drafted high enough to be that.
The number 7 overall pick with insane size, insane jump ball ability, and insane talent. And that's what I'm banking on is he didn't get to show that last year because, it was a back injury. That's not something that's easy to come back from.
It was what, a back and neck?
Yeah.
No, he hurt his neck in college. His back was last year. He had a bulging
A lot of
disc.
injuries.
Yeah, and a bulging disc in your back.
All related to spine, which is not a great sign.
Let's put it this way. Take it from me if you're around week whatever last year.
Oh,
back
God,
injuries are
yes.
difficult.
Was that week 2 or 3? It was early on in the season, I thought.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but it was bad.
Yeah, I thought we might be permanently down to 2 hosts at that point.
We were still
Yeah.
at Eddie's, so it was definitely early in the season.
What are you, Nick? Because you switched to Team Tyrell, didn't you? At least based on the projection.
I'm very close. Tyrell is slightly ahead of Mike, though. For Mike, you got to hope that there's a lot of touchdowns.
There's been hype that's been
Well,
buzzed around
without
him.
a tight end right now, I think there will be.
If they sign Gates, I'll be leaning slightly more to Team Tyrell. If they don't sign Gates, I'll probably lean back towards Mike.
they sign Gates, it'll be a lot closer for me.
All right. This one should be easy for you guys. Buccaneers wide receiver 2, Jackson or Godwin?
Godwin.
Let me fix this. No, I'm kidding. It's going to be Godwin. It might even, I've been fading so hard on Jackson anyways, especially without Winston the first 3 weeks. It's all Godwin here.
Yeah,
Gotta be.
without Winston, but then just what Godwin did when he got routes. More than 15 routes he was producing as a wide receiver too, and 15 routes is nothing over the course of a game. So, I just, especially if Mike Evans struggles again, it's got to be Godwin, and it's got to be Godwin by a lot. So,
And Godwin shapes his offense with what you want to see. You got Mike Evans, a pure big-bodied outside guy that can do it all. Then you got Godwin as the technician,
and he can play the slot
And
too.
he can-
So
play both.
Jackson's probably on the field, but I think Humphreys is the one that gets shuffled out.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
But I think that Godwin gets more target volume, especially if Evans struggles.
especially if he flashes early on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think either Godwin or Watson will shove Humphreys out.
Well, I think Godwin shuffles everybody out besides Evans. All right.
Yeah.
And
I think the
I love Chris.
and I think
Godwin,
the future of that wide receiving core is Evans, Godwin on the outside, and Watson in the slot.
Crossing my fingers. Redskins wide receiver 2, Doxson versus Paul Richardson.
Doxson.
Doxson. Nobody cares.
I care here, kind of. Not
Maybe.
really, because Alex Smith doesn't really support wide receiver 2s. It's usually the one and then the tight end.
I think
So you're interested
I'm
Jordan Reed
interested
hurts
in
himself.
Jordan Reed and
I'm interested
Crowder.
in Vernon Davis if
Yeah,
Jordan Reed hurts himself, and Jamison Crowder. I'm not necessarily interested in who the 2 is. Doxson's he's not really flashed big, but he's shown enough to where I think he can kind of be that mild level of Albert Wilson productive
with more touchdowns.
with more touchdowns because he's bigger. So take that for what it's worth. Not a guy I want to own, though, despite whatever hype comes out of camp.
Yeah, Jay Gruden wants to make him something. It's just that
Desperately want
desperate. But it's
mean,
also been
it's like
reported that if he doesn't, get better, he may he's gonna lose time. That's what it was last year too. So
yeah. So Jay Gruden with Doxson is the same as John
it's Crowder,
is with Doug.
It's Crowder and Reed. That's and then Davis when Reed breaks himself.
All right. Bears wide receiver 2, Gabriel Miller and Kevin White, who's apparently doing okay in camp.
It's Miller. It's fucking Miller.
The hype that Miller is getting out of camp is so unreal, and not just because of what he's done as a receiver, but the way that he trash talks, the way that he carries himself on the field. His
Steve
teammates
Smith.
are
I
raving
know.
about him. The coaching staff is raving about him. However, Miller's a slot guy. Kevin White's an outside guy. They're both on the field. Taylor Gabriel gets brought in to stretch the field on occasion, but I think is not on the field consistently. Now, Kevin White can't stay healthy. He was a high-round draft pick. It's kind of like the Josh Doxson situation to where I think there's some touchdown upside there. But Anthony Miller's a guy I'm going to be real interested in.
Every time he plays in the preseason, that's who I'm watching.
Where are you looking to reach format?
What's his ADP?
Is he being drafted now?
1403.
That's fine with me.
12, 13.
I don't mind taking him his way. 12 or 13.
If the hype
That'd
continues,
be defense.
he will not be
kickers.
14 for now.
He could go up to probably 9 or 10, and if the hype continues, and I would probably take him.
Especially if Trubisky looks good in their second and third preseason.
Because at that point, I'm filling out my bench anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
He could raise 4 or 5 rounds. and
You
I'd
know
still
my
be
love
okay.
of Anthony Miller. His dates back to fucking March.
All right. Bengals wide receiver 2.
Why?
Who cares?
John Ross, Brian LaFell, Tyler Boyd,
Ross is
Josh
flashed.
Malone.
Apparently Ross has flashed. He's been beating people, which I'm not
That's
shocked
what he's
because
supposed to do.
He runs past them.
So, okay. Josh Malone, big body guy, flashed a bit last year. It's Marvin Lewis, so it's got to be Brandon LaFell.
Who would, for fantasy purposes, who do you want to win?
Tyler Boyd or Josh Malone? Just because they both flashed enough to where I think if they got consistent targets, they could be relevant.
I still say Ross because I think he'll have some of those big games, those big plays. But like Boyd had one game last year that was to take out the Ravens, and that was it. Josh Malone's flashed a little bit. Yeah, fucking Alex Erickson had a couple good games last year.
Cody Core. Andrew Erickson, by the way.
Yeah.
No, wait, not Andrew
Like
Erickson.
Alex Erickson. Yeah. Like, who the fuck? Like,
Who cares?
Who cares at this point?
It's AJ Green and nobody else matters.
We've been talking about the Bengals 2 for like 7 years.
And
It's like Jerome Simpson.
It just
and
feels that
Marvin
way.
Jones. Like, they can't like find their fucking replacement.
ever since Jones and Sanu have left, there's not been another wide receiver not named AJ Green there that's been relevant.
I mean, fuck. Boyd was a second round pick out of Pittsburgh that just flopped at this point.
All right. Browns wide receiver 3, Coleman and Callaway.
Callaway is by far more talented.
I think Coleman gets traded.
They have something against Corey Coleman. Now, again, do I think there's enough to support it? No, because I think wide receiver 3 there is probably option 5.
Yeah.
Behind whatever running backs on the field and David Njoku. So I don't want anything to do with it. Callaway is the more talented one, but I think Coleman's better suited for Landry can play the slot. So no, Callaway I think is better suited for it.
I think Landry plays more outside, and then you're gonna have Callaway and him kind of flip flop, as Hopper was saying. I think, like I said, I think Coleman gets moved on from. I think they'll find a suitor for him. You know, a team like Dallas. I'm sure there's more out there I can think of, but
Buffalo.
Or Buffalo.
Buffalo needs people. If anybody flashes in preseason, I expect Buffalo to be in the mix.
Especially if they find a quarterback.
They need help bad, and so does Miami.
Well, speaking of Miami, or I'm sorry, skip a team. Broncos, wide receiver 3, Sutton, Hamilton, Henderson.
I'm Hamilton here. I think he fits that role better for the inside.
I'm Sutton because I think that he's got a ton of hype in camp. He's a future wide receiver 1. They're experimenting with moving Demaryius Thomas around, which means that he can play outside, which I think is where Sutton's better fit for. Sanders, we know, can play the slot. And if you're putting the 3 most talented receivers on the field right now, and this isn't a knock on Deshaun Hamilton. I love Deshaun Hamilton, but they need to move on from one of the older guys before Deshaun Hamilton has a role, in my opinion. Sutton's a higher draft pick. He's the more talented player.
I think, just for me, I think because Hamilton's a better route runner than Sutton. Sutton's obviously more talented, raw, he's flashed, but so is Hamilton has flashed. I think at this point, it may not matter who the 3 is because it may not be enough relevance for them.
I don't think you need Hamilton. I don't think you need Sutton to be a good route runner, though, because you have Sanders and Thomas who both can be and can both slide inside and take that possession role. So I don't think Sutton has to be a good route runner. I think he has to be athletically dominant.
Which reports from camp are that he is doing
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
Well, I'm not shocked. I mean, we love Sutton, so.
Dolphins wide receiver 3, Wilson and Amendola.
Patriots are better too. I'm kidding.
Amendola's going to get hurt anyway, so I guess Albert Wilson.
I mean, Wilson's like Stills last year. He could, be it, especially if Tannehill falls in love with him, or if Matt Moore, when he replaces Tannehill, falls. I don't fucking know. I don't care.
Thanks.
It's Wilson though.
Patriots wide receiver 2/3, Jordan Matthews, Kenny Britt, Philip Dorsett, Cordell Patterson, Malcolm Mitchell, or I guess Eric Decker.
See running back core. No.
Terrell Owens.
Chad Johnson.
They tried that once. It didn't work out.
I know. That's the joke.
Kenny Britt. Just because I don't want the dream to die.
Please let the dream die.
Jordan Matthews.
Jordan Matthews reluctantly because I think he gets the biggest boost from Edelman being gone, and I think they just keep him on the field.
So it sounds like Dorsett, they're running out of the slot right now. So maybe him.
Interesting.
But
I don't think Brady throws enough volume to either of these 6, 7, 5
it'll
guys.
be Hogan, Gronk, and running backs.
That's what it was last year before Hogan got hurt. And they had Cooks still.
I mean, there should be some volume to go around. I just have no idea who it's going to.
I don't want to bet on it.
Nope.
Let it be somebody else's problem.
Yep.
Not anymore.
All right. And last wide receiver core before we move on to a beer review. Seahawks wide receiver 3. Darbo, Marshall, Jerron Brown, Tanner McAvoy.
Marshall.
I want it to be Darbo, though.
I want it to be Darble, but I think it's Marshall because of the red zone option, the fact that they lost Jimmy Graham. So I think that it's got to be Marshall. And Baldwin will play slot. I mean, Tanner McAvoy, I've always wanted to be a big red zone threat, but I don't think he's ever going to step as more than the guy that catches 2 touchdowns a year, and that's about it. So do I want to still believe in Brandon Marshall? Not really, but what else do I have to believe in?
I know Jerron Brown's metrics look nice. I think it was talked about on the... Yeah, it's pretty fucking good. He's best comparable as Marvin Jones.
But I think that Jerron Brown is very much the same type of player that
I know.
Tyler Lockett is.
He moves from John Brown to Tyler Lockett. That's the guy in front of him.
Yeah. So I think that if you're looking for the traditional like possession receiver, big body or speed guy, and then slot speed guy, big body, it's got to be Marshall or McAvoy, and I think that it's Marshall by a lot.
He's got to make the team, but it's tough because they said that Darble may not make the team. They said that Marshall might not make the team.
Apparently nobody's making the team.
Yeah, fucking Doug Baldwin's banged up.
Well, that's why this is a things to watch in training camp.
Yeah.
So, and this is definitely a big thing to watch in training camp is if somebody out of that group really shows out, then they're the 3. Now
could fight for the 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing with Seattle has always been that you've had a productive tight end, maybe a productive running back, and then Doug Baldwin, and Wilson just kind of spreads the ball out everywhere else. You've had, look at how frustrating Tyler Lockett and Paul Richardson were last year.
Yeah, Richardson wasn't awful. He was not good, but
when Lockett was healthy, it was a fucking nightmare.
It was every other week. It was the other one.
And then 2 years ago, it was with Jermaine Kearse, and a few years ago, it was
Kearse
same
again.
thing. I think too. Yeah.
So, but if the Nick Vannett dream doesn't come to fruition, the wide receiver 2 or 3 may be valuable.
If it doesn't, then I think that if the Nick Vannett dream does not come to fruition, then it's got to be Brandon Marshall because it's going to be a red zone threat that makes him viable.
Yep. All right. Time for a beer review.
Hoofda.
That felt really long.
That's what she said.
Beer review.
I mean, he's right. It's hot. That took forever, and I'm not nearly drunk enough for the situation.
Yep.
Wow.
What do you guys think of Brewdog's Hazy Jane?
Oh my God, is this good?
It's fucking delicious.
Nice pineapple, citrus, fruity, juicy taste up front. The Hazy Jane, I get it. It's got whatever those dank hops are in it that gives it kind of that like almost piney, skunky type of weed. Like it gives you that dank type of taste on the middle. You can definitely tell it's 7%, but it is really good.
Very smooth for 7%, even though you get a little bit of the alcohol bite to it. Just overall fantastic flavor. Like this is hey, I got a friend who bitches how he doesn't like IPAs and he thinks we're all crazy. Hand him this. He'll be fine.
And drunk.
And drunk,
It's a decent amount of bitter, so if bitterness is a turnoff, then...
Not that much, though.
It gets cut out enough from from the citrus.
I think the citrus and the dankness kind of trump the bitterness a bit, but it's definitely more bitter than
It's there.
the
though.
session
You can
that
still
we were
taste
drinking for
yeah.
sure.
Well, yeah, and it should be more bitter than a session, but it's probably what, like 50, 55 IBUs would be my guess.
For that one?
It doesn't say.
For this one, it'll probably be 60 to 70s would be my guess.
I would put it.
Actually,
I'd probably put it up in the
session
80s.
had
I'm
more
gonna see if I
IBUs,
can
I
find
think,
it.
than this one did.
I'll see if I can find it.
Let's see which one of us has a better palate for picking out IBUs.
Oh,
I'm saying it's upwards of 80, but we'll see.
All right, go ahead and look that up here. But yeah, that is Hazy Jane by Brewdog. Definitely a great New England style IPA, which is becoming a real popular style. If you have not checked out the New England style yet, heavily recommend it. We've had quite a few good options from that style here in the last, 2 or 3 months.
Yes.
yes.
So just go back through previous episodes, find something you can get in your area, and go ahead and check that out. All right. Last but not least, tight ends. Kicking it off with something that we've kind of been starting to poke a bit, and we're starting to get some hype in training camp here. Is Trey Burton's...
Wow, we were off.
What is it?
35.
No way.
Yeah, you guys were all way too high.
You were too.
Yeah, I guess closer to 50. You guys were in the 70s.
I said
and
60s.
All right.
Either way,
Is Trey Burton going to be able to hold off Adam Shaheen and lock down the tight end one role for himself, or is this going to turn into a 1A, 1B
if
situation?
you've seen Shaheen's highlight videos recently,
It's 1A,
Jesus
1B.
Christ.
So does this kill Burton?
No, because I think Burton
No.
plays outside the 20s and it's more of the PPR guy, and I think Shaheen's going to be relevant with his touchdown with potential touchdown upside.
Well, they've both shown well in the red zone.
Shaheen's a better,
Blocker.
bigger
more
body
in
guy
line,
for out that. But
Bigger body.
it's been said that Burton's going to play more of what the Kelsey role was with Kansas City as the move tight end, and then Shaheen's going to be the inline blocker.
It doesn't
Inline
kill
tight end.
Burton, but I like him a lot at tight end 11, which is where I have him.
Who, Burton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the issue is I don't see who I can move him behind, though this news doesn't make me super wanting to grab him anywhere. I think I'll probably won't move Burton, but I'm probably going to, in terms of my
God.
tight end rankings, but he may slide down my overall draft
He's at
board.
the 7-10. It just doesn't feel right. But he's the tight end 9.
Yeah, I don't want him as the tight end 9.
But the tight end 11 is George Kittle at the 10th round, so that feels better
I would
for
flip
me.
flop him.
Yeah, I would too.
Agreed. So Shaheen's going to hurt Burton, and it'll make
They're
people
both
sad.
can hurt each other, but I think Burton has a little more of the PPR a floor.
Burton's the one to own, but Shaheen's going to do enough to hurt
Yep.
the hype.
All right. Baltimore. Hurst, Andrews, Boyle, and Williams.
It's got to be Hurst, but I think Mark Andrews is long term the better option. I just don't know how soon that comes to fruition.
When they name a starter, right now, I mean, I know it's training camp battles and this, that, and the other, but there's been no news on any of them. I haven't seen anything positive or negative on anybody here.
We will get to watch all 4 of these guys on Hall of Fame games.
Yeah.
So.
Back to the questions, though. When you get to training camp battles, right, and you're talking training camp battles, this is one to watch because this is a very valuable position, whoever
Yes.
it is that emerges from it, which is the other part of what Nick wants us to answer. It does have value because Joe Flacco loves his tight ends, but you got to pick.
Well, and they have to win the job outright. If it turns into a tight end timeshare, then that's.
I don't think it's
we don't
Max
care.
Williams because I don't think he can't stay healthy. I don't think it's Nick Boyle just because I don't think
Because
he's
they drafted
talented. Yeah,
two
because
tight
they
ends
drafted 2 tight
also.
ends in the first 75 picks. I think it's Hurst because I think he's more of the, I guess, balanced. I think he's a better blocker than Mark Andrews
And
from a traditional standpoint.
he's the more pro
He's like
ready.
George Kittle, where he played from both the halfback and the inline and the move tight end role. But Mark Andrews could have value if he, emerges.
Yep.
So Andrews is dealing with an injury right now and not practicing, which doesn't help.
Which leans me more the Hurst.
All right. We can do this one quick since we argued this a lot on Monday, but I wanted to include it just because Jack Doyle, Ebron will be a battle to see who is the one.
They're both relevant.
It's
Doyle for me though. from the
Doyle
floor.
by a slight percentage. I still think that Ebron sees over 10% of the target share on this team, but it's Doyle by a little bit.
All right. Similar situation, Brait Howard.
We talked about this too. This is a 50-50 split. I don't think that you're going to see somebody emerge from this, so I want to steer away from this entirely. I mean, you can watch it in training camp, but I'm pretty confident in that assessment after what I saw last year and looking at how everything broke down that this is just going to be split up.
I want to see how much Howard improves from this year because I think he does have the most upside. Braid's got the chemistry with Winston, but even last year it was a headache. We kept trying to predict that Braid's going to be great because Winston's playing and he had one reception. So it's going to be who emerges throughout the season? Because right now I think it's opposites to be 50-50.
All right. Probably a bit of a softball. Ed Dixon versus Nick Vannett in Seattle.
It better be fucking Nick.
Nick Vannett.
It better be.
And it ain't even close.
All right.
Dixon's traditionally been a blocking tight end. It's Nick Vannett.
All right.
He just traditionally sucks.
In Dallas, Geoff Swaim, or is it Jeff or Geoff?
Jeff.
Jeff Swain.
Jeff Swaim versus...
I like how people, because we call Geoff, forgot that's actually
That's
not
only
pronounced
bec-
Jeff.
That's only because we had
It's only because we had five Jeffs,
by
so we just started enunciating it more.
There are some people that go by Geoff, but it can also be Jeff, I know.
It's Jeff Swaim.
Then there's also Blake
Or Swami.
Jarwin and Rico Gathers.
I wanted to be Rico Gathers so bad, but everything
What about Dalton
hype-wise,
Schultz?
he's a blocker.
He's not a receiver.
They're all fucking blockers besides Gathers.
Everything hype-wise, though, is pointed to Blake Jarwin.
Yep.
And so I have not actually, I won't try to bullshit here. I have not actually watched Blake Jarwin play. So
No one knows what he looks like.
No, I don't even know what number he wears.
Yeah. We're not gonna lie here, folk.
he's a mythical being at this point.
He's a unicorn.
Whenever we get to Dallas's first preseason, this game will be the first time I'm aware I'm watching Blake Jarwin play.
I will be watching Blake Jarwin heavily, but
it
it'll be
Jeff's-
the first time I know I'm watching Blake Jarwin. At least I've seen Rico Gathers do things, and I know what Rico Gathers looks like.
He's
and
fucking huge.
And I've had a conversation with Rico Gathers before.
Yeah.
So
He's a
How,
nice-
how intimidated were you?
he was sitting down and wearing Crocs, so it wasn't that bad. But,
I felt safe. We felt safe.
But he is
we
a
were a little tuned up, but we felt safe.
massive human.
Like, I want him to succeed. I don't think he's in Dallas. I don't think a tight end. In terms of value here, there is no value. Like, this is a low passing offense. There's a lot of mouths to feed.
Even Witten's
with low
value
volume.
fell
Yeah, and Winton
significantly
was
after
because
Romo left.
Winton was the perfect complement to a young quarterback. Great blocker, fantastic, middle of the field route runner for a tight end.
Well, and if they're looking for a Witten style replacement, maybe that's why it is Blake Jarwin.
Yeah.
All right. Gerald Everett versus Tyler Higbee in LA.
Gerald Everett,
Yeah, I think it's Everett.
I
don't
think
know
he's just
how
more
much he's
talented
relevant.
overall.
Yeah.
more talented, more athletic. I don't expect either of them to necessarily be fantasy relevant. They weren't last year. But Gerald Everett, I think, is the more productive of the two when you look at it season.
This is Brayton Howard light, where
So-
you don't want to own any of this at all.
Now, just as an aside, if one can break out, McVay has shown he can use tight ends well.
I know.
Yeah.
One's got to separate from the other one, though, or one's got to get hurt.
And even then,
A la Pittsburgh.
yeah.
So
We'll get to that momentarily. This one probably is a layup too, but in Denver, Jake Butt versus Jeff Heuerman, I believe it's pronounced.
Heuerman's always been a blocker. It's butt
It's
stuff.
Butt stuff for sure.
Butt stuff.
All right. Any interest in him as a redraft candidate this year?
He's still a rookie tight end, and there's so many nuances to the position that I think he's off the field enough with Heuerman blocking, and then Heuerman's by default going to get some targets because you can't just, okay, every time Butt's on the field, the pass is going to him, so not in redraft. Pick him up in Dynasty, and we'll talk next year, and I think he could have
It depends.
move up.
It depends how he looks in preseason. If he shows that he's become a better inline blocker, we've seen just from last year with Case Keenum use Rudolph, but it was very sparingly. It was 4 or 5. For Rudolph, it was 6, 7, 8 targets a game.
No, he didn't have that many.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't. It was gross to own. He needed a touchdown to be relevant, and that's where Butt's going to be.
Yeah, he averaged just barely over 5 a game.
It was. Yeah.
All right. For the Jets, Jordan Leggett versus Chris Herndon versus Clive Walford.
It's Leggett.
It's Leggett for now. I loved what I saw out of Herndon, but he went out and got himself deweyed. So,
Probably won't get suspended until next year, though.
probably not. But even without the suspension, I still think
Rookie tight end.
Rookie tight end. Leggett's got at least a little bit more time in the league. So it's Leggett. You saw with ASG at J, there's some touchdown upside there.
I still don't think this. This is
Right.
not
Yeah,
relevant.
half of them get turned over.
This
but
is very relevant.
It
Yeah,
mostly
right.
it
Not
mostly
really
leaves you running
irrelevant.
12 tight ends. So after you get outside of George Kittle, David Njoku, you're done.
All right. Vance McDonald versus Jesse James.
Well, Jesse James is
Right now
broke,
it's-
or Vance McDonald's broken. So
I haven't heard what the injury is. So
I haven't either. So
You got carted off with a foot injury. Doesn't sound too good. Though.
I'm going with Jesse James, and it's been Jesse James. It would have been Jesse James for me anyway, just because I think that he's kind of been a reliable option ever since Heath Miller left, even if it hasn't been high performance level. And I mean, with all the stars in Pittsburgh on that offense, you don't need him to perform at a high level. You don't need the tight end to perform at a high level.
It'll be like Heath Miller will have one good game every 6 games. So who's depending on who the starter is. So have fun guessing that one.
So and just as an aside, this is only Jesse James' 4th year. He's pretty young.
Yeah.
All right, and last one is Houston. Steven Anderson versus Ryan Griffin versus Jordan Akins.
Oh, Ryan Griffin's still there.
Yeah, he did not retire. Fedorowicz did.
Griffin has flashed it most, and he's the most experienced.
You sound real confident in that.
I'm not confident in the Texans.
I'm not either
at
at all.
It's not Jordan Akins yet.
If ever.
Steven Anderson kind of got it by default, but I think if Griffin's still there, he was kind of playing opposite. Him and Fedorowicz were alternating concussions there for a while. So I'm going with Ryan Griffin.
I mean, I guess from a pure athletic standpoint, Akins wins that, but he's raw for a 26-year-old tight end, which is
Well, there's a lot of
doesn't bode
athletic
well.
tight ends that should have came in and won
Yeah.
stuff, but unfortunately,
Who the fuck knows?
we know with tight ends it takes 3 years minimum most of the time.
This one could be one to watch if you're looking for a mid to low, like a mid streamer for tight ends, though, because Watson's helped make them at least. Well, Brian's used his tight ends in his offense.
And if Watson produces like some people think he's going to, there may be some tight end value there. We don't expect it, but we could be wrong.
Well, even if he's in the high 5s,
It's not drafting Ryan Griffin.
I'm not
Or
drafting
Steven
any of these
Anderson
tight
or
ends at all.
Jordan Akins.
Hey, what about your 2 tight end, 16 team
None.
tight end premium league?
I
No.
took Nick Vanette.
All right. That's enough on tight ends here. Before we wrap up this episode, it's been a while. Let's do a rant segment.
I was wondering
Oh
what
my
this was.
Do you still have the drop?
I don't even remember what the drop
I
was.
don't even know if I have a rant.
What is the drop? Hold on, I probably do. Let me see if I can find it.
The rant is due. I was like, did you just like misspell rent? Like,
I mean, my rent is due, and I lost my stamps, so I gotta
Oh my god!
go figure that out. What the hell did we call this segment? Was
It
it
was like weekly rant or
It was
something?
open mic.
Open mic.
I do still have the drop for this. Here we go.
Oh, my God.
Beer Fueled Open Mic.
And it's a new one. Okay, we're good. Somebody else go first though, because I was totally unprepared.
All right,
for this.
I can do one.
Go ahead.
All right. So this is geared towards all the coach speak, all the training camp hype, everything that you're going to see and hear from, not from just us, but from Twitter, from everybody else. Don't buy into every single thing you hear. Fuck, that's just too easy.
Yeah, I've got one. As it comes to draft season and into the regular season, remember to treat your commissioners well. They're busy people. They're taking time out of their life to
Run a league.
run a league. They have lives too. They've got personal lives. They've got real jobs. So if they're not updating a spreadsheet immediately or responding to messages that second or putting people on rosters 15 minutes after your draft's over, like, give them some time because they've got to fit running a league around whatever else is going on in their life. So just be kind and treat your commissioner as well as it comes to draft season and have some patience with them because they're orchestrating everything. Send them a thank you letter, buy them a beer if you're in the area with them.
So, and as similar to that, shout out to the Beer Fueled Fantasy Dynasty Listener League for being well behaved through the draft so far. You guys have all been awesome.
And even pitched in and helping out. Like, help out your commissioner if you can. Ask them if they need help updating a spreadsheet. Help alert people when they're on the clock or when nominations are available. Yeah,
I'm not by a computer 24/7. I can't keep track of everything, and no commissioner can.
right. So if you're watching and you see that you're doing auction style and there's 4 or 5 nominations available, shout it out. If somebody's on the clock, shout it out. Let them know. And nobody's going to get mad at you for that.
Yeah. And actually, if your commissioner is always like doing things like 10 seconds after it needs to be done, take them out for a beer because they may need more of a social life.
It's a true story.
That is true.
And speaking in your Coach Speak one, during this episode, a positive Amaro Darbo story had dropped.
There's
after
going to
the
be positives for
previous negative
everybody.
one.
Like we could have put down for the tight end, like the Miami is going to be Gesicki, Najee Derby. That's more relevant to the fucking Jets tight end.
All right. So my rant is going to be real simple, and that's why I included the segment this week. Don't be completely inflexible with the way you view players. If somebody disagrees with you, they may have a valid reason why. View it as a learning opportunity. Maybe you missed something. Maybe you need to learn something.
Yeah, Reddit.
Don't view it as this is specifically Reddit. Don't view it as that person is immediately wrong and their opinion is invalid because they disagree with your assessment on something.
Yeah, the worst thing I hate seeing is someone going, "I'm not going to open up. I'm going to close your ranking if so and so is not here." Fuck you. First,
If I don't agree with you, I'm completely closed-minded to different types of opinions. So here's the thing. Nobody knows anything right now. We all think we know stuff. We're all making educated guesses on stuff. Nobody knows for sure. And whoever you are, wherever you're at, you're going to have a couple things that you're right about, and you're going to have a lot more things that you're wrong about.
You're 85% wrong and about 15% right.
You hang your hat on the stuff that you're right about, and the stuff you're wrong about,
hopefully it's not too bad.
yo, sit down, be humble.
Yeah, and
little bitch.
this may not be everybody, but the majority of people, if you start coming into this, start doing rankings, start doing projections, things like that.
One, good for you.
Yeah, good for you for taking the time, but you'll find yourself kind of taking a step back and being like, I know way less than I thought I did.
And don't be so quick to like change because a bunch of people don't be like us with Terrell Pryor last year. If you feel confident that you're right about something, stand your head on it. Yeah. I mean,
because that
we
was
all right about Terrell Pryor last
a
year.
win we would have had that we turned into a loss. So if you're confident about something, stick to your guns, but don't be so.
Yeah, no,
don't be a dick about it.
You can appreciate other people's points while maintaining a different one.
Yeah, have a strong opinion, but don't be closed-minded.
Yes.
So that's just that. I just wanted to get that out there when I had somebody who was irritating me all for the last 24 hours here, ranting about how he disagrees with everybody and basically being like, I'd be shocked or surprised if this happened. It's like, how can you not imagine an alternative scenario to what you're expecting to happen happening?
Yeah.
All right. That's all we've got for this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are at Beerfield FF on Twitter, Instagram, and Untapped. Why are you glaring at me?
Because I'm waiting for you to not fuck this up.
I will do my best not to fuck this up. Check out there for the can art on Instagram. You can get the beer reviews on Untapped. Twitter is where we drop most of our news, and I'm going to try to get some consensus rankings out by about this time this episode airs, if not earlier. So go ahead and check there on our profile, and I'll have those pinned for you. You can go watch us on YouTube, Beerfield Fantasy Football, and go ahead and subscribe there. We do not know what next episode is going to be, so that will be a surprise for everyone.
I mean, we know when it'll be, but we don't know what.
Yes.
And we know Hall of Fame game will be involved somehow. That's about it. So I think that's all we got for this episode, unless there's anything you guys have to chime in.
Nope.
All right. Then we will catch you guys next time on Beerfield Fantasy Football.
You guys got it right that time.
Later.
Softball.
See ya. Still recording right now. Hold on.
Never edit.
Never edit. Good outro.